I see we have caller Audit LA on the line. Good morning, Audit. Do you have general public comment or multiple agenda items?
Good morning. Yes, I would like general public comment and all items, please.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I also see we have caller Yvonne's hands raised. Good morning, Yvonne. Do you have general public comment or comment on any of our agenda items?
General public comment and all items, please.
Great, thank you, Yvonne. We'll let you know when we start public comment.
Thank you.
So it is. It's one of those things. That's him, but you can't tell. It looks like a rat.
Yeah. Well, you're covering yourself already. Was it pretty warm up there?
Later in France, Chris Jensen. I think so. And I was sitting in the public work. Would it be possible to call me back? Okay. Yes. Oh. Okay, I understand. Okay. May take me a couple hours. I'm not sure how long I'll be here. Okay. All right. Thank you. She took a picture of us. That was she took a picture of us having dinner. I don't know what that is.
Are there physical speaker cards? Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today, I'm going to do one last call for public comment before we get started. If you're joining us in person, please go ahead and fill out a comment card in the back of the room, and you can bring it up front. If you're on the Zoom platform, please raise your hand if you have public comment so we could take you down before we get started. Thank you. Caller Lara FM, do you have public comment or comment on any of our agenda items today? Caller Lara, will you let us know if you're going to provide general comment or any agenda item comments today? Okay, we'll come back to you. And caller Sydney, do you have general public comment today or comment on any of our agenda items?
Hello, I do. I have a comment to offer on item number 6. I was intending to offer it as public comment.
Okay, great. We'll get to you when we get to item number 6. Thank you. Great, let me put us in record mode and we'll get started. President Kang, we're now recording.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, July 16, 2025. If you don't mind, please take roll and establish quorum.
Yes, of course. Good morning, everyone. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works, taking role in establishing quorum. We're joined by President Kang, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Cardenas, and Commissioner Mitchell, and we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We will now start with the general public comment. which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest items and will be provided up to 1 minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes for the general public comment segment of each regular meeting. Testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. Since we do not have any in-person speaker cards, we will transition to our virtual platform.
Great, we'll get started and go ahead over to the Zoom. Caller, Audit LA, good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Good morning. I am here to talk about slave labor and how it does exist. Although I know we all disagree and we don't like what's going on with these ICE raids, it did show one thing, that there is child labor. That at that one marijuana farm, there were children laborers without adult supervision, without parents, okay, and they were working. We don't know if they were even making fair wage or if they were making slave wages. So it's just another example that this does go on. And my concern is that it does go on. We know for a fact, we have it, that Scientology does it because we know how much Sea Org members make. It's roughly $47 a week. Now, if they're in their prison system, it's much less than that, and they have to buy their shampoos and stuff for that money. But they are working on public streets, okay? They vacuum and power wash L. Ron Hubbard Way. They set up all their events. They do everything, and it's
Thank
at
you,
slave
caller.
wages,
That's
and
1
that's
minute.
illegal here.
Our next hand raised for general public comment is Yvonne. Yvonne, you'll have 1 minute for general.
Thank you. Also, the same area of the city. The permits that you are providing Scientology should be stopped because they are still sidestepping the process of going through all of the different divisions of oversight. The permit itself says one violation nullifies the permit. You need to stop issuing them permits. Short and simple. They are in violation of every permit you've issued them. The equipment they are installing should be inspected by Building and Safety and the Health Department. That doesn't happen because they sidestep those departments. And you're allowing that to happen every time they issue a permit. Please, you have a health safety problem every time Scientology is issued a permit. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I see one more hand raised on the Zoom. Caller, Lara. Lara, if you have general public comment, you can unmute yourself and you'll have 1 minute for general.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, this is Laura. So just to attach to what the other two callers were saying about the permits for Scientology and on L. Ron Hubbard Way, I was one of the children that was used for all kinds of jobs, slave labor, all kinds of work, and we were part of setting up that whole system of making sure that eventually L. Ron Hubbard Way would be owned or controlled for sure by Scientology, and that's what's happening right now. And so I'm speaking out as a child, letting you know that it's as simple as sending somebody out and watching and investigating why there's no parking there on L. Ron Hubbard Way. Why is there a brick road instead of a regular road? Watching security run the whole city, that whole area in our neighborhood. I live here. I live in the neighborhood. I'm a few blocks from this cult, and the permits need to be regulated and controlled properly and not let Scientology run over you guys doing this. Please, please, I beg of you, please check out and investigate the permits.
Thank you, caller. That's time. That's it for our Zoom platform for general public comment.
Okay, and I have one in-person speaker card. I would like to invite to the podium Ellen Evans.
Good afternoon, good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here. I'm the president of the Doheny Sunset Plaza Neighborhood Association, and I'm here speaking on item number 6. We've worked hand in hand with our council district office and with the departments in creating our adopted median package, making sure that we didn't encroach on any visibility, and just making sure that we were providing a really safe and nice entrance to our community. So thank you for considering it, and we're really happy to be at this point. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Are there any other general public comment?
That's all we have for general.
All right. Thank you very much. With that, we will close general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you will speak on when you are called. We do not have any in-person speaker cards for multiple, so we will move to our virtual platform.
Great. Our first caller is caller Audit LA. Audit, you'll have 3 minutes. Please identify which items you're speaking on. Thank you.
I think it's 1. I don't know if, and I know 11 for sure, but the 2 that's putting the transferring streets to the city. That makes me happy to see that the city, I guess there it was the development building, it's, and the streets are going to go to the city. That's the way I want to see it. I don't want to see street vacations. I don't like that. Excuse me. So I like to see this trend. I want you to be very careful, and it's a revocable permit item here too. I want you to just be really careful because we've seen how Scientology takes over like an R permit and doesn't abide by it. How they then think that they can encroach more. Like remember the whole year of a planter. Well, you guys are new. You don't remember the entire year of the planter situation. Because if you give them an inch, they take a yard, and that's what I'm worried about here too, and whether or not they're going to maintain the encroachment. Because I know that Scientology Burbank, North Hollywood, they have not maintained theirs. So there needs to be follow up. I know there's not a lot of money for this, but it still needs to be done. They need to be vetted. Number 11, I want to talk about. I'm really, really happy to see this item. I see that people were not paid their fair wage. And that's why I'm happy that we have a former president of a union on the commission, because you're going to be caring about people's wages, and that these people now, hopefully, that you'll assess them and they will get their wages. But we've been telling you too for a very long time that there's people working on public roadway, L. Ron Hubbard Way, and also through their A permits. Okay, they got A permits, and they are using their Sea Org members, and they are not getting fair wages. It's absolute proven fact. It's not even in contest how much these people make. It's like, if they sell books, whatever, they can get some more money. But their basic wage of a Sea Org member, a Sea Org slave, is $47. And if they're in the prison system, which often they are, if they're doing this hard labor, they're getting much less than their $47, and they have to run everywhere. They're not allowed to walk. They have to run everywhere, and they can't use the elevators. They have to go it's just a craziness. But this is what's going on in our city. There are slaves. There are people who are being humiliated in the name of whatever it is, and I'm not attacking their religion. I'm attacking the abuse. And it is abusive and it's illegal, okay, for them to do this. See, like you assess this company here in number 11. I wish you would assess Scientology for all the times that their people are building up these sets and these things are just photo ops. They're just, it's not a religious experience. And even if it was a religious experience to build a set for a recruitment day on a 4th of July event, that's illegal in LA. There's no religious exemptions.
Thank you, Speaker. That's
okay,
time
for the
for
wages.
multiple items.
Sorry.
That's time. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
All right, caller Yvonne, you said you wanted to speak on multiple items. Please let us know which items you're speaking on.
I'm speaking on the item called minutes, which isn't a number, but it covers all the items. I would like to reiterate my observation that your minutes do not provide a searchable document or portion of the minutes so that public comment can be noted and searched so that the public can assess whether or not the board is actually listening to the public comment and taking action. This practice is not required by law, but it should be required by morality and wanting to do the right thing and wanting to have the history of progress in Los Angeles recorded. Your persistent neglect in this matter is troubling and indicative of a organization that is bought off and not interested in actually listening to the citizens of this city. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. And I see we have one more hand raised. Laura, did you have comment on any of our agenda items today?
I was just reading them, and so I don't want to speak off topic, but I do want to really, really, again, nudge to
Please
your
let us know which items you're speaking on if you wanted to provide comment on our agenda items.
Okay, 11 then. I'll
Okay,
take
you'll
11.
have 1 minute for item 11.
Okay, thank you. So again, with respect to permits properly being investigated and seeing if they're not being squirreled around with or used for a different agenda or a different method other than what they're approved to have been approved for by the city. So again, if you could send people in whenever there's a Scientology permit on L. Ron Hubbard Way happening and making sure they're actually upholding their end of the permit. Otherwise, the permit gets canceled. Is that not the case? I know you can't answer, so please have somebody from your department go and do the
Speaker,
permit
this item
inspections.
regards a penalty assessment on a contractor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. All right, President King, that is the end of our multiple agenda item commentary.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting, and we will move forward with the approval of minutes for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Commissioners, any questions or comments related to the minutes? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
So move.
First by President Pro Tem Grant and seconded by Vice President Chavez.
Great, we'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez. Aye. President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
I'll abstain since I was not at the meeting.
Great, 4 ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
I do just want to note for the record that an abstention technically does count as a yes vote.
Thank you, City Attorney.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our consent items for item number 1 and 2. First, with the contract award PALP, correcting the work order number, and for number 2, related to First Amendments for the Office of Community Beautification Services. Commissioners, any issues or comments?
I just have a question as to number 1.
Yes.
It says the wrong work order that was noted on the June 18th, 2025 agenda due to a clerical error, but it doesn't state what the clerical error was in terms of what the work order number was.
The work order number in the board report was listed wrong. So the one that's attached here, work order number E1908682 is the correct. That was the discrepancy.
I understand that, but it says the agenda, it doesn't, the board's report is correct.
From my understanding, that number was listed incorrectly.
Okay.
Lamisha, since you're here, are you able to elaborate on that? Yeah. So the work order that's reflected now is the correct one, and the one that was reflected on June 18th was a different work order number. Any other comments or questions? All right. I'll move to approve consent items. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Great. We'll take the roll call for the consent item, starting with you, President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
Great. All ayes, the items are adopted and carried forthwith.
All right. Moving on to item number 3 for Council District 7, relinquishment of rights for Terra Vista Way.
Good morning. My name is Thane Crocker. I'm a senior civil engineer with the Bureau of Engineering, Permit Case Management Division. I would like to make a request. I would like to present it item number 3 and item number 5 together, and both of them are relinquishment of rights. So item number 3 is Terra Vista Way relinquishment of rights in Future Street in Lot 12 or Tract 28730. And the property is located in Council District 7. And the Future Street easement was created by the tract number 28730, recorded on October 27, 1964. Item number 5 is the 5200 Louise Avenue, relinquishment of rights in Future Street in Lot 6 of Tract 27802. And this Future Street easement was created by the Tract 27802, recorded on August 23rd, 1963. So in 1963 and 1964, when the tract was created, the city has a plan or the future to develop as a street. Currently, it's a future street, and it's 25 years has passed, and it meets the criteria. The criteria, there are 4 criteria. One is that it's recorded by the tract. It is. One is in 1963, another one is in 1964. And it's 25 years past. Yes, it's 63, 64, 25 years past. And it's already the third party. It's ownership change, original developer to the ownership change. And it's never been improved as a public street. It's still the Future Street easement. So since the 25 years has passed and never been improved as a street, and city never accepted as a public street, and so it meets the relinquishment criteria, and the Bureau of Engineering recommending the board to approve it. Recommending to approve it. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
All right. Commissioners, any questions related to item number 3? All right. Seeing none, I'll move to approve item number 3. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
Great. We'll take the roll call. President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
Great. All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Move on to item number 5 with Council District 4 for the relinquishment of rights at 5200 Louise Avenue.
Thank you.
What was it, 3 and 5? What's the vote is the 3 and 5?
Were they both moved together?
We did it one by one.
They're different addresses.
I know,
Yes.
I want to bring them together.
No, but I wanted to go to questions. Commissioners, did you have any questions related to item number 5?
No.
Just for the record. Okay. Okay. Seeing none, I'll move to approve item number 5. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Chavez.
Great. We'll take the roll call for item 5. President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
Great. All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going back to item number 4 for Council Districts 1, 2, 6, and 15 for task order solicitation number 43, Mars.
Good morning, President King. Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome to Commissioner Cardenas. My name is Marina Quinones. I'm a senior architect at the Bureau of Engineering. This morning's board report seeks authority to issue task order solicitation number 43 to Mars for civil engineering services to provide construction management for 4 projects in the shelter and housing program with a budget authority of $1,500,000, including contingency. The scope of work includes staff augmentation with experienced construction managers and as needed services, such as estimating and scheduling. Mars staff will work directly under a BOE construction manager and will manage the contractors for 4 projects with a total construction budget of $32 million. The opportunity was advertised on RAMP in February. One proposal from Mars was received for about $3.4 million. Negotiations were done in collaboration with the Construction Management Division. Mars needed clarification that the TOS really was only for staff augmentation. They reduced their proposal to a not to exceed amount of $1.5 million. The 4 projects, the images that are in your report, they're located in Council Districts 1, 2, 6, and 15. They are all tiny home villages using the cabin structures and residential state certified prefabricated units. Most of the amenities mimic the projects that most of you have visited as well. The sites will provide a total of 432 beds towards the Alliance settlement. Funding for the services come from the Homeless Emergency Account. That concludes my report. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments related to this item? Yes, Commissioner Cardenas.
Just a question. How many beds are we talking about in each council district?
So Council District 1 has 64. Council District 2 has 100. Council District 6 has 208, and Council District 15 has 60.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none.
Before we vote,
yes.
we do have a hand raised. I just want to check if they had
Sure.
commentary for
Thank
item
you very
4.
much.
Caller did you have commentary for item number 4? We've already taken general public comment and multiple item comment today.
I attempted to speak.
Okay, I
You do
don't
not-
think that's for
you-
item
you-
number 4. Thank you.
You do not.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll move to approve item number 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by President Pro Tem Grant and Commissioner Mitchell.
Great. We'll roll call President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 6 for Council District 4, adopt a median for Crescent Heights Boulevard and Selma Avenue Triangular Median.
Good morning, President Kang, members of the board, and Commissioner Cardenas. Welcome back, sir. It's good to see you. Jerry Valido, Assistant Director of the Office of Community Beautification and Program Manager for the Adopt a Median program. The Doheny Sunset Plaza Neighborhood Association, also known as the DSPNA, has enthusiastically promoted this project and in partnership with Council District 4 seeks to undertake the improvement of the triangular median located on the west side of Crescent Heights Boulevard and Selma Avenue. The median serves as the gateway to the eastern side of the DSPNA territory and has been the target of beautification efforts for years. The DSPNA got involved in 2019, but movement on the project was stalled due to the pandemic and picked up again by Bradford Cobb, who is a current member on the board of the DSPNA. The component parts of the project include the installation of trees and shrubs, as well as the installation of an irrigation system connected to the existing water supply. This endeavor seeks to provide the surrounding neighborhood with a beautiful, sustainable, and welcoming community entrance. The project has full support of Council District 4, and the plans have been reviewed and approved by Streets LA. At this time, I would like to respectfully ask that the board adopt this project so we may move on to the permitting phase of the process. Thank you. This concludes my report.
We also have Council District 4 on the line too to provide commentary.
Okay, so we'll move on to comments from Council District 4.
Hi, Sydney. Good morning. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Sydney Liss. I work in the Council District 4 office, and I'm speaking on behalf of Councilmember Rahman today. I want to express our strong support for item 6, the Adopt a Median project at Crescent Heights Boulevard and Selma Avenue. Our office has been working closely with the Doheny Sunset Plaza Neighborhood Association to shape this project and create the application. We've also worked with them on a range of other community efforts over the years, and they've proven to be a diligent, thoughtful, and highly responsible partner. Throughout the course of this project, we've worked collaboratively with the Department of Transportation and Bureau of Street Services to ensure that the landscaping plans are fully aligned with traffic safety requirements, streetscape guidelines, and other relevant city standards. We are very confident that DSP&A will continue to uphold their commitments and diligently maintain the improvements according to the approved work plans. We thank the board for considering this item, and respectfully, we hope to see it approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Cardenas?
Yes, anytime we can do improvements is great for the city. My only concern is the maintenance. We just need to make sure that the maintenance stays up on that. And if there's any way we can, is there a call number? If there's any issues going on there, who to call to make sure that if one of the residents in the community sees a problem, a broken sprinkler, something happens through there, that they can call somebody and make sure it gets taken care of in a quick fashion.
Yes, sir. So just as a quick refresher, because I know it's been a while, the Adopt a Median program, the way it works is that the constituent groups agree pursuant to a maintenance agreement that they sign to maintain the project area and project site in perpetuity. And in exchange, the board will waive the permit fees for their A permit and their revocable permit. So going forward, once this project has been installed, the DSP&A will be undertaking the maintenance of the project and ensuring that it stays in a condition that's appropriate for the neighborhood.
All right, thank you.
And then Vice President Chavez.
Yes. Thanks, Jerry. Do you know approximately how many projects we have already under this program? Approximately.
Well, Commissioner, the program has been around since the early 1990s. My database extends back to maybe the early 2000s. So we have well over, I would venture to say maybe over 200, maybe 300 projects that have come through the Adopt a Median program, and currently we still have a number in the queue that are that have not been approved yet for one reason or another. They're still in the review process.
And I know obviously these are dependent upon community organizations, neighborhood councils. Sometimes it's the local homeowner group that gets together and does these. For some of the older ones, do we do any kind of monitoring up, like if the contract lapses, for example, do we ever go back and try to revisit it or see if someone else is willing to take it on? Do you have that built in at all?
In an ideal world, that would be wonderful, but you're basically looking at the Adopt a Median program. I don't have a staff, so it's not very feasible for me to go out and go to the field and check on each and every one of these projects. If I happen to be in the neighborhood and I know of a project that's been approved, I'll happen to cruise by and look at it. A lot of times it'll have to be on the shoulders of the neighborhood who know of a project that's sitting on the public right of way, and if they see that it has fallen into disrepair, that's when I get a notification as to whether or not something needs to be done.
Yeah, maybe that's something that we can look into. I mean, obviously resources are scarce with our budget realities, but I do know that there's a lot of folks that are out there looking to figure out how they can beautify their communities. A lot of folks don't know about this program. I constantly encounter even small organizations don't know about it. Not every bid necessarily knows about it. So would love to partner on just educating sort of the next, generation of community leaders about the program and, how to contribute in your community. It's a really great way. It's a no-fee permit. You have to agree to do all these things, but from a community perspective, it's something that allows you to, actually see the fruits of your labor. So I think it's very, very validating to get involved on something like this. So would love to partner with the office on how we can promote the program a little bit more.
Great. Well, I can only speak for the time since I took over as program manager beginning in 2016. And I can say that the community groups that I have been working with have been very diligent with the projects that have come through since I've been program manager. I know that they are constantly calling in and checking with me, and if something is happening out there where they may need OCB's assistance, they've been very vocal about it. And with the upcoming community or a Keep LA Beautification Conference in August, Adopt a Meeting will be a big part of that. We're going to be able to kind of disseminate information out to the community in that fashion as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also just wanted to echo Vice President Chavez and some of the remarks earlier. Would love to help kind of promote this program, given that it provides sort of an action item for many of our community-based organizations, including our neighborhood councils. And everybody's looking to help beautify our community, and want to commend our neighborhood association working with Council District 4 to move this along. So with that, I will move to approve item number 6. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
Great. We'll take roll call. President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Graham.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 7, directive to Southern SoCal Gas to relocate or protect in-place pipelines. It says all council districts, but I believe it's limited to Council District 15.
Good morning, honorable commissioners and department heads. Thank you for your time. I'm Erica Blyther, the city's petroleum administrator, and I'm providing some background and context for item 7. Local governments, as well as state and federal agencies, can negotiate terms of an easement or franchise agreement relating to pipeline locations, availability of information, required payments by operators, for line relocation in case there's street or highway construction or rerouting projects, maintenance of the right-of-way, pipeline abandonment, and many other issues. To use these pipelines, operators are required to have a contract with the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas, known as a franchise agreement, which includes requirements for insurance bonding, annual fees, and pipeline safety tests. So in this case for SoCal Gas, the Port of Los Angeles is proceeding with the Wilmington Waterfront Development Project, or program, Avalon Gateway Project, in the community of Wilmington. This project includes the construction of approximately 12 acres of visitors serving open space. The Avalon Gateway Project will construct public access improvements between Harry Bridges Boulevard to the north and the Pacific Harbor Line railroad tracks to the south. And there's a map attached to this. The Avalon Gateway Project is currently in the design phase, and substructure maps indicate that the SoCal Gas pipeline is in the area of the proposed project under Avalon Boulevard. Before September 2025, SoCal Gas needs to either protect in place or relocate its pipeline within the project limits in order to avoid construction conflicts or damage to its facilities. Our franchise ordinance number 187354, the pipeline franchise agreement between the City of Los Angeles and SoCal Gas, has section 4.5, changes required by public improvements, and it states the following. Grantee shall, at its expense, protect, support, temporarily disconnect, relocate in the same street, or remove from any street any franchise property when required by the board by reason of traffic conditions, public safety, street vacation, freeway construction, change or establishment of street grade, street maintenance requirements, or the construction of any public improvement or structure by the city or any government agency of the city, in each case acting as in a governmental capacity, provided that with respect to facilities within a state highway, which was not a state highway at the time the facilities were originally installed, the obligations of grantees shall be as provided by applicable law and by any agreement between the grantee and the state as may be applicable, and further provided that with respect to work done for the benefit of any non-governmental entity, grantee is not precluded from recovering the cost and expense of the work from the entity, unless provided otherwise by applicable law. Nothing herein, however, is intended to modify or limit the provisions of the California Public Utilities Code, Section 6297, and as amended, or the additional appellate decisions of the state of California interpreting the California Public Utilities Code, Section 6297, as amended. But basically, this tells the grantee to remove or protect its lines when there are projects coming through. It's the recommendation of the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas that pursuant to Section 4.5 of the franchise agreement, the board directs SoCalGas to protect in place or relocate its pipeline within the project limits in order to avoid construction conflicts or damage to its facilities. The Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas recommends that the board direct SoCalGas through authorizing the president of the board or two commissioners of the board to execute the attached proposed letter to SoCalGas. There is no projected fiscal impact to the city from the matter. As outlined above, per the terms of the franchise agreement, SoCalGas will be responsible for the costs of the protection or relocation of its pipeline. Are there any questions?
Thank you. I know that was a lot of info. Commissioners, any questions or commentary related to this item? Vice President Chavez.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Blyther. Just a couple questions. First of all, I'm very familiar with the underlying project. The Avalon Gateway project is a critical piece of the Wilmington waterfront project in CD15, really important access project for the residents of Wilmington. It really sort of returns public access to the waterfront to a community that traditionally didn't have access. It was all industrial. It was a project that I worked on starting in 2005, was approved by the port, I believe, in 2009. So it's a long time coming. This project has been around for a really long time. I know that this is a different phase of it because it basically connects the Wilmington Waterfront Park to the business district in Wilmington across this bridge. So this Gateway project provides that connection. I'm just curious, when did you first become aware of the need for the project, the pipeline potential relocation? When did your staff first become aware of that?
I believe it was earlier this year or late last year. The port approached us.
Do you mind speaking into the mic? Thank you.
Certainly. I believe it was late last year that the port approached us and said, "Oh, we have this project coming through. How can this be handled?"
Okay. And then, so normally when those discussions occur with departments, you were talking directly to port staff, working that out?
Correct. It was the port staff who was reaching out to us.
And so normally on these franchise agreements that, allow for you to request a franchisee to take action, when does that notification occur? Does that occur once the board's taken action, or is there ever any kind of courtesy notification given beforehand?
We are trying to do what is procedurally advised. So it's important to make sure that we're following the procedures of the agreement, which says it's the board to direct SoCalGas. And so it's the board who's taking the action, and it wouldn't be appropriate for my office per se to tell them to do that. So that's why we're going through this process.
But is there any information that's shared with the franchisee to say, this is the request that we've received? We intend to send a formal request, that will be ultimately up to the board. Is that part of the procedure?
This is the first time we've encountered this situation. So that is a good procedure to have.
Okay, we're in unknown territory then.
Yeah, we're exactly. New thing. So we can make that as like when we receive these requests, we can say, by the way, this is an action that's going to the board. There's this project coming through. I'm not sure if there's a representative from the port who maybe has already reached out to SoCalGas. That I had this sense that had happened, and then they said, you have to follow the terms of our franchise agreement, talk to the board. I think that's what happened, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, well, we have a representative from SoCal Gas here, so I recommend you guys talk after.
That'd be great.
But yeah, I'm just kind of curious, just, being new to the board and still learning about processes. I think over communication is impossible. You can never communicate too much. I think that's really important in the spirit of collaboration, and it's just easier to get things done when everybody is on the same page. And, that goes for us board members too. We like to know about things ahead of time when feasible. So, all right. Well, thank you.
And I'm noting this down. This is a great procedure to have in place as these things come up.
Thank you. Thank you. President Pro Tem Grant, did you have any other commissioners? I did also wanted to request in the future, I know this came up rather suddenly on our side, would love some extra time to kind of get a deeper dive into these briefings in the future.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from our commissioners? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
All right, first by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by Vice President Chavez.
Roll call, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 8, monetary penalty for non-compliance of the City of LA Franchise Ordinance Section 6.3, faithful performance bond requirement. Seven. The vote was on 7. Item number 7. Yeah. And now we're on item number 8.
Great, and I'm back. So item number 8. Again, this is relating to the franchises or the contracts that the pipeline operators have with the City of Los Angeles. So as I mentioned before, there are these conditions. So of these conditions, there are requirements to have proper bonds and insurance. So I'm taking 8 and 9 together to kind of explain. But per the franchise ordinance, a franchisee is required to obtain at its own cost insurance, comprehensive general liability at $10 million, workers' compensation employee liability at $1 million, automobile liability at $1 million, and sudden and gradual pollution liability at $25 million. And sudden and gradual is important because sudden could be something like an earthquake happening, and gradual could be a small leak that happens over time and begins to pollute the soil. Ultimately, in each of the franchise agreements, there's a section 2.6, which says monetary penalties for violations of franchise ordinance terms and conditions. The board may levy a monetary penalty on grantee as an alternative to or in addition to suspending all or part of the franchise privileges for grantee's failure to abide by the terms and conditions of the franchise ordinance for the activities listed in section 2.6b. And that includes any of the following activities, such as failure to maintain insurance required by the city, failure to maintain in full force and effect or upgrade the amount of the required faithful performance bond as directed by the board. And the timeline for these penalty amounts for bond and insurance noncompliance, the first notice of violation is issued on day 1, day 31 is the second notice of violation, day 41 is the third notice of violation, penalty and notice to appear before the board. We began this compliance process in 2023, so some of these operators have been notified since 2023. The Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas worked to issue a third notice of violation to franchisees that are not compliant with bonding insurance provisions for the pipelines. We initially listed 19 non-compliant bonds and reduced it down to 2 out of compliance, or actually currently 2 out of compliance bonds, and we recommended a fine of $10,000 each in April of 2024. We initially listed 28 non-compliance for insurance. This was reduced down to 4 out of compliance with insurance and bonds, or sorry, specifically with insurance, and recommended a fine of $10,000 in April of 2024. So at that time, the board elected to provide more time instead of issue a fine in 2024. Currently in 2025, 5 are out of compliance with insurance requirements. And again, some of these have not been in compliance since 2023. The current 5 are Brea Canyon Oil Company, Cardinal Pipeline, Crimson California Pipeline, NASCO Petroleum, and the California American Water Company. Currently in 2025, one is out of compliance with bond requirements, and that's NASCO Petroleum. Today, on July 16, 2025, we return to the board to recommend fines again. Also of note, these prospective fines were accounted for in the budget process this year and will be used to help ensure a balanced budget. The 5 franchisees have also been invited to attend this Public Works meeting. I'd also like to point out that ensuring compliance, communicating, and following up on all of these items takes a significant amount of staff time and resources. I'd like to thank my staff, John Childs, the Senior Management Analyst over the franchise section of the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas Administration, and Gordon Jung of the Management Analyst in the franchise section, for all of their efforts on this area. Both are also here, and we are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions? President Pro Tem Grant.
Thank you for the report. Is there, you outlined the calendar of which, 30 days notice and whatnot. Is there a schedule in terms of penalty fines for noncompliance? I mean, how did the $10,000 figure come up?
So 10,000, that's part of the franchise agreement or the contract. It states the terms and the penalties that are written out in that contract.
And then if they're a repeat offender, is it 10,000 again, or is the amount escalate?
Only if the fine is initially issued. We've kind of been over this with the city attorney. It's
Sorry,
like
I can't quite.
only if the fine is initially issued. So if they are fined one time and then fined a second time, there could be another change in penalty as the contracts are currently written.
Right.
But if the fine is never assessed, we can't increase the penalty. And we've been over this with the city attorney because it's been frustrating since 2023.
Right.
Some of these have not come into compliance.
And are these 3 companies still in existence?
Yes,
And they're operating,
correct.
but they've failed for almost 2 years to even comply with our requirements?
Correct.
Have there been conversations? Do we have any sense that they're going to comply?
We have had conversations, and John and Gordon maybe would be able to provide more insight, but we've continually reached out, phone calls, emails, written correspondence. And so sometimes there's communication, sometimes it trails off. And I don't know if you want to provide any more insight, but yes, we have made attempts to reach out to them and communicate.
And no response?
Some response, sometimes responses that trail off.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I'm just a little concerned that they're continuing to be non-compliant with what's $10,000 and that's it, and there's no police action taken whatsoever. And that what is the next step if the board approves the fines and there's no response?
Correct. So that's another issue. So we can take that up with city attorney and say, what are the things? In some cases, a lot of the franchisees have bonds. And so that is potentially something we can do is go after the existing bond that the city has and try and recover costs. But that is a process we need to work on with city attorney, make sure that's all well documented.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I do have a quick question. I know President Pro Tem Grant mentioned the office tried multiple times to reach out to them related to this. In addition to emails, are there any other efforts that we use in terms of kind of escalating this issue? Do we do any site visits? Do we do phone calls? Is it just purely email?
Phone calls for sure, and I believe we've sent at times, since 2023, we've definitely sent written correspondence as well.
Okay, so we've sent mail correspondence as well, or is it just electronic?
So there have
Primary.
been mailed letters at some point, and maybe you can speak to that.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Gordon Jung. I'm the management.
A little bit louder.
Sorry. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Gordon Jung. I'm the management analyst with the franchise group. So when we started this process back in 2013, I believe the first
Sorry,
time.
did you say 2013?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2023. I believe the first time we sent out those notice of violations, it was through mail. And I believe prior to me coming on board to this office, it was also sent out via mail. for notice of violations, but we eventually transitioned to sending it out via email and also doing it through phone calls.
And,
President Pro Tem Grant.
but I must say, they responded to some of them, or did they never respond to any of them?
There are certain franchisees who did respond through either email again or through phone call conversation or even meeting with us through Zoom or Google Meets, and then others who have just not responded at all.
And just because I know we've had instances before where contractors or whatever say, oh, we never got, we changed our address or it was misdirected. Is the mail sent certified? Was the mail sent certified?
I do not believe so. I can't speak for anything prior to when I came aboard
Do
this
we have any
office.
evidence that they received any of these communications?
So for emails, we do read receipts and we get read receipt responses when they open it.
And just to follow up, if this passes, what's the notification afterwards? What happens?
So I believe the next step would be us generating the fine in our system, and then we would send them that bill for the notice that they've been fined.
Is there any follow-up with the bond insurer?
Yes. So we do the same process for both the bonds and the insurance.
But my question is, was a similar notification sent, like a CC to the letter to the franchisee sent to their bond company?
We don't reach out to their bond company directly, but
We have notification who that is, and we haven't sent a similar notification.
no, we don't reach out to their bond company directly.
I would suggest you do that because sometimes there could be a bond in place or something. If they're out of contact, even with their bond company, then that's further evidence that there, like you said, is no bond for the city, right?
Yes, correct.
And have you guys discussed with the city attorney, with office, what the next step might be?
Yes, for certain ones that we do plan on fining, we have discussed with them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Vice President Chavez.
Okay, so I'm sitting here and I'm just struggling to understand why it took nearly 3 years from the initial outreach to then seeking penalties. I'm just trying to understand, and maybe you can help me understand why there were so many deadline extensions granted. It says there were several board-approved deadline extensions granted, but we didn't escalate the penalties. So can you help me understand that
I can't
situation?
speak to the decisions of the previous board.
Or is this something that the office sought, or something that the previous board initiated?
We did bring this forward to the board, similar recommendations. The board said we'll give them more time. I do know that there was a lot of outreach on behalf of the operators and things like that. And so the desire was, well, since we haven't issued fines in a while, I believe in 2018, there was a big effort to issue fines initially when the office was formed. And some of those folks did come in compliance same day as the meeting and came in compliance, but over time they kind of fell out of compliance again. So that was a new effort by the office in post-pandemic to renew compliance. At that time in 2023, it was the decision of the board to give more time. They said, well, this is a new thing. Before we issue fines, let's give them the max amount of time. So that was the board's decision. We make recommendations. We do not take the action. And so that was the board's decision.
Okay. So are there, other than this one, because I'm kind of confused because you're talking about different franchisees, but this one is just about one right? You're trying to assess penalties
So there
for
is one
one.
that's out of compliance with the bonds. So the bond is required to be 3 times the franchise value. The franchise value changes every year based on consumer cost of living increase, and so it changes each year. So the bond will change a little bit each year. So we have an older bond that is not kept in current with the changes in the cost of living increases. So there is some money, but it's not adequate for today's dollars. There are others that are out of compliance with the insurance. Some of them, it's all the insurance terms. Some of them, it's just the sudden and gradual pollution prevention. But all of them have been notified that these are the requirements to have these proper bonds and insurance. Automobile liability, workers' compensation, sudden and gradual pollution, and they have failed in either one or multiple areas for that insurance compliance.
Okay. So what happens to all the other franchisees, the other 15 that were non-compliant in March of 24? Did they all come into compliance or are they pending?
So most of them have come in compliance. Now some, it's a constant cycle because you pay for insurance for a year, and then sometimes you don't pay for the next year, you have to renew your policy. So we're constantly watching and seeing when the policies are in compliance, when they fall out, et cetera. So it's an ongoing task. Today you have a good policy, next month you might not. So it's a lot of work and ongoing efforts by my staff to see when insurance
Have
falls
we
out of
ever
compliance.
revoked a franchise for persistent non-compliance?
That's a possibility. So I have not personally, but that is a potential thing that has happened. So what some franchisees have done, and you might see that coming before the board, is instead of adhering to these insurance requirements, because they can be steep for some of the smaller operators, they say we'd rather close our franchise and not have our franchise with the city of Los Angeles anymore instead of complying with these terms. So we're working to do some abandonments for those franchisees. So some of those pipelines no longer want to work within the city of Los Angeles. Others are doing other things. And so again, we recommend these fines because we think this sends a signal that we're watching this, we take this seriously, and that there are consequences if you're not in compliance.
President Pro Tem Grant.
This is not directed at you. I think it's just dumbfounding us in a certain way. This particular one in Measure 8 is NASCO Petroleum.
Correct.
This same actor is in Agenda Item 9 again for
Correct.
another failure to perform according to the contract. Is the discussions in terms of whether or not penalties are increased for a repeated bad act or not, do those discussions take place within your department? Do they take place within discussions with the city attorney's office? Does it land in our lap in terms of whether or not, because it's one thing for 2 years not to, to provide the insurance requirements, but it's another thing in a number of different areas to in fact fail to honor the contract that we negotiated with them. So looking at stepping back and seeing this X as being a bad actor, who makes those decisions or proposals as to whether or not we increase penalties or take further actions as Vice President Chavez suggested?
Right. And I think this is coming up that some of these franchises are expired and we need to renew them. So what we want to do is look at their compliance history and see, do we intend to renew these? Are these people who are working to be in compliance? Are these people who are bad actors?
Right.
And so that's the decision we would make as we negotiate new franchise agreements. The need for new franchise agreements also includes some of these terms. Currently, we're locked into the terms of the agreement, which is that it's $10,000 for the first violation, and that we've had these discussions with city attorney. They've been off compliance since 2023. Can't we fine them for that? And they say, no, once the fine is issued, that starts the clock of, that's the first penalty. The next penalty could be 20,000 the next proceeding, but the first penalty has to be issued to increase it. That's the current terms of the contract. Now that's something that could change in a new contract, and that's something we can continue to talk about with city attorney. But currently that's the advice we've been given.
I think we'll be looking at those new contracts as to what increased penalties. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments related to item number 8? All right, seeing none, I'll move to approve item number 8. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 9, monetary penalty noncompliance of the City of LA Franchise Ordinance Sections 5.2, insurance requirement.
And I'm sorry if I was not clear. I was trying to take item 8 and 9 together
Mhm.
so that the first part was just purely a discussion of the bond, and then the second part was the insurance. And that's when I went through the various types of insurance that must be carried. So I hope that that was clear. And if you have any further questions, I'm happy to represent or read those names again if need be.
Do you mind kind of elaborating sort of the difference between 8 and 9 in terms of the insurance requirement?
Sure. So for item 8, it was just the bond. And so again, there's a bond in place, but is not kept. Oh, certainly.
You can pick the mic up. Because we cannot hear you.
Okay, sure. So item 8 was specifically for the bond, and the bond has not kept pace with the consumer cost of living increase. So there is an older bond in place. It's not kept in process. For item 9, it's specifically the insurance. So the requirements for insurance are $10 million for comprehensive general liability, $1 million for workers' compensation employee liability, $1 million for automobile liability, and $25 million for sudden and gradual pollution liability. So of these who are listed, have either one or more of those areas they're out of compliance for insurance. So those that are listed are Brea Cannon, Cardinal Pipeline, Crimson California Pipeline, NASCO Petroleum, and California American Water Company. Yes.
All right, President Pro Tem Grant.
But, so, recommendation number 1 is to assess a monetary penalty. Recommendation number 2 is to approve the penalty assessed, but it does not include Crimson Pipeline, which is identified in item 1. It's just, right?
Mhm.
There's 5 listed in item 1 and 4 listed in item 2.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm on page 3 of our report. It starts with Brea Cannon.
Am I?
It says Cardinal Pipeline, then Crimson California, then NASCO, then California American Water.
At least on our the agenda, it's.
Oh, the agenda? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the agenda.
But your board report correctly has them.
Oh,
Board
okay.
report
So there
has all
might be a
5.
mistake on the agenda. I apologize.
Okay, the board report has all 5.
Okay.
So was the omission of Crimson intentional in the agenda? I would imagine not. I think we just want to clarify that for item 9.
I think that was an unintentional omission. So I think it's a mistake.
According to.
The board report's correct.
Correct.
The agenda is not.
And point of order, when we vote, we're voting on the board report, not the agenda item?
Well, we can vote on the agenda
I
item
was
as
asking.
amended.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you for catching that. Thank you.
Crimson Pipeline LP for this 184,958. This number. That is number C. And number 2, and then move NASCO Petroleum LLC to D, and then move California American Water Company to E is reflected in the board report.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a clerical error, so we can amend it.
Yeah, the agenda, yes, as amended, yes. Vice President Chavez, I know you were waiting.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so these issues, as you said, you referenced the recommendation, for example, on automatic escalation of penalties. Is that something that needs to be changed by ordinance, or is it needs to just be included in new franchise agreements?
So the new franchise agreements would be a new ordinance. Each franchise agreement is an ordinance.
Is an ordinance. Okay, so is there a master franchise ordinance that you use as a template for all the new ones?
We
Okay.
have a template, exactly.
Okay, so and then what is needed to do you need additional authority in order to collect unpaid penalties, or is that also addressed in the new franchise ordinance templates? Is there
We can
additional
add that.
authority needed?
We can add a section on unpaid penalties, past unpaid penalties. We can add a section on past unpaid penalties.
And then are there mandatory franchise termination procedures also in those agreements for persistent violators? Is that noticed in the new agreement templates?
Yes, we can include that as well. So I think that is the one thing, is to really have better reflection of the compliance history of the franchisee and when there needs to do termination. There are some people who have had some issues in the past that are not just issues with the city of Los Angeles, but also issues with the State Office of Oil and Gas, issues with the South Coast Air Quality Management District. So they are known, I don't want to say bad actors, but they're people who have known to have a lack of compliance.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I just couldn't, so you're saying it's something you're looking into doing, including in the new agreements once they get renegotiated?
Correct.
Okay. Is it possible for you to give us a report on sort of what the action plan is for the remainder of the, I know there's a lot pending, I know there's a backlog, and I understand that there's staff, but what, given the resources you have, what is a realistic game plan to systematically go through and renegotiate those either expiring or expired agreements that include the new proposed enforcement language, right? The stronger language that we talked about with the escalating penalties and the automatic termination for persistent violators. I would like to see that in the next 60 days.
Right. I believe there's a retreat coming up in August, and so that can be something that I cover at that retreat, describing all of these procedures and what we're looking at, including who's going to be renewed, the changes basically to the franchise structure that we're recommending and we're planning to negotiate on. So that's something I can include there.
I have a question.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Ms. Byther, this is my question. What period of time are we talking about these violations occurred? What year?
So some of these have been since 2023.
I cannot hear you.
2023?
2023?
Correct.
So they didn't post bonds. I'm using going kind of back, but it's similarly, they didn't post insurance going back to 2023?
In some cases, that's correct.
And this, pardon?
That's correct. In some cases, 2023.
Well, let's talk about these five, since this is what our item is. These five didn't post insurance, required insurances, or proof of insurance in 2023, correct?
I think in most cases that's correct. So specifically for Brea Canyon, as early as September 7th, 2022.
As early as what?
September 7th, 2022, the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas began reaching out via email in an effort to have Brea Canyon provide proof of insurance. So that's the first line under Brea Canyon. I can read that for each of them. As early as September 7th, 2020. Oh.
So what year? Okay, so September 2022, you started reaching out.
Correct.
What I'm trying to find out, when were they in violation of posting proof of insurance, there's required insurances pursuant to the franchise agreement? Is that in 2020? I know that's when you started reaching out, but what period of time we're talking about? Is it 2021?
I believe it might have been earlier. So back in 2021, the Office of Petroleum and Natural Gas was 2 people. So there was not enough time to follow up with all of these items.
I'm wondering when the default took place. That's what I'm asking.
So in some of my previous presentations to the board in 2024, there has been, the office really began in 2017. Prior to this, franchise agreements were under the Department of Transportation. They were transferred to the office. We got some functions from the city administrative officer, some functions from the Department of Transportation. My predecessor did a lot of work in 2018 to provide compliance with insurance and bond provisions. So I'd say in 2018, 2019, there was a significant effort underway. and all bonds were in compliance. There was an article that was written in the Board of Public Works newsletter talking about all the compliance efforts, documenting the huge amount of compliance that had happened due to the office efforts. Now, in pandemic, some of those things went away. And so when the office was staffed up again, it went from 2 people during pandemic up to currently we're at 9. We were at more, but things happen through the budget process. We're at 9 right now. And the office efforts in 2022 began to get everybody back in compliance. They were in compliance in 2019, fell out, didn't get the calls, didn't get the emails, and so they
So
just did
you
not
don't
meet
know the answer to my question, which is what year the default took place? I understand there's some staffing issues, and I understand this being dumped on the Board of Public Works like so many other things in the city are. But what I'm trying to get from you is when we say they're in default, I'm trying to get a year. Let's,
And I think we can find that out because these records, they're written records for these
Pardon?
insurance. We can find that out through the written process.
well, if you come to the board asking action, we're going to give you action, but we can't give you action because it may be that the fine is not $10,000. It may be that the fine is greater because it says in your board report within the same 12-month period. So even when you're sending these notices out in 2024, and the last board is extending it, it may be you're talking about those stepped up penalties of more than $10,000, but you're only asking $10,000.
And I
All I'm
wish that was
saying is,
correct.
given the scheme work that you have and the franchise agreements that we're talking about that I guess are still in place for now, you might be talking about more. And I'm just trying to figure out what year, to the best of your ability, did the default take place?
Yeah, and I understand what you're asking, and that's a very good question. We've been over and over and over this with city attorney, but it's when the fine is issued, not when the lack of compliance occurred. So if the board has not issued a fine, that's when we can increase the fines. If the board never issues a fine, it doesn't matter the number of years of noncompliance, unfortunately.
Well, it talks about a first, second, and third offense.
Correct.
So if that happens in the same month, same 12-month period, in other words, you tell them, you give them notice several times, and they don't comply, in that 12-month period, you could have 3 offenses, which would give you greater than $10,000, but you're only asking for $10,000, correct?
And maybe that's something we can discuss with city attorney together, because when we ask that question, it's been years of them not being in compliance. Can't we issue a higher fine? City attorney says, no, it's from the first fine being issued that the violation starts.
Okay.
And we can ask again. I'm happy to ask that again and see if we could generate more, because as you've all pointed out, $10,000 is not prohibitive in
Okay.
stopping people from being in compliance. It's not enough of a deterrent.
All right,
It's what we have, but it's not enough of a deterrent, and I agree with you 100%.
but we appreciate your efforts, we do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cardenas.
Just a question for workload. How many franchisees do we have in the city of Los Angeles under this, with these ordinances?
We have 42,
42?
correct?
Okay, any other questions or comments related to this item? Okay, for item number 9, is there a first and a second?
So moved.
As amended, second.
Thank you very much. As amended, per Commissioner Mitchell's earlier recitation, first by President Pro Tem Grant and second by Commissioner Mitchell.
Great, we'll take the roll call for item 9 as amended on recommendation number 2 to include Crimson Pipeline as one of the penalties assessed. So we'll take the roll call starting with President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes, the item is adopted as amended and carries forthwith.
Thank you all.
Thank you. For remaining speakers, if you could speak directly into the mic, that would be very much appreciated. Moving on to item number 10 for Council District 8, Contract Award, JR Pipeline Co.
Let's ignore this a little bit.
And you can always take it out of,
That's right. Good morning. My name is Amala Carino.
Can you
I'm
move it up, Amato?
yeah.
There you go.
Why don't you just take it out of the,
Just take it out.
yeah, just take it out, yeah.
Is it on?
It's on. Can you hear me? I just need to speak louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might need a new mic.
Good morning. My name is Amala Carino. I am a civil engineer with the Bureau of Engineering. And I'm also the project manager on the project that we'll speak on. The Bureau of Engineering is requesting the board to declare JR Pipeline first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award the contract to JR Pipeline for the Figueroa Primary Sewer Rehabilitation 87 to 108th project for the amount of $9,547,323. Some project background. The project will rehabilitate 7,941 reach feet, which is approximately about a mile and a half of existing circular 18-inch, 21-inch, and 24-inch online concrete sewer pipes in poor structural condition. By using the cured in place pipeliner method, which is for short is also called the CIPP liner method. The proposed work also includes rehabilitating, renewing, or upgrading existing maintenance holes, which are used to access the wastewater infrastructure for future maintenance. The sewers will be rehabilitated. The sewers that will be rehabilitated were constructed in the 1920s, which is the sewers are about 100 years old. The repairs are necessary to remedy various deficiencies in the city's wastewater collection system and avoid future emergency repairs, which could cost 2 to 3 times more than planned repairs like the project that we have in front of us. The project is located in the South Los Angeles neighborhood and primarily located on Figueroa Street between Manchester Avenue and 108th Street. For your reference, you can see figure 1 on page 2 of the board report for a project map. The project is also located within Council District 8, which was briefed of the project and its construction impacts, and the Council District supported the project and supported peak hour exemptions where applicable. For this project, we received 3 bids, with JR Pipeline being the lowest bidder at a rate of 16.8% higher than the city engineer's estimate. Based on the range of bids for this project, staff believes that the bid for JR Pipeline is reasonable, given that the lowest bid was higher than the city's engineer's estimate. On April 9th, BOE secured funding from the Program Review Committee for the increased budget. Some additional information on the project. The contract duration is 730 calendar days, which is equivalent to 2 years. And this is typical for a size of this magnitude. The project has been reviewed for environmental considerations, and it was determined to be categorically exempt pursuant to the provisions of California Environmental Quality Act, or for short CEQA, of 1970 under Article 3 of the city's CEQA guidelines. In respect to the local business preference program, the Bureau of Contract Administration verified that the first low bidder, JR Pipeline, is a certified local business enterprise. In respect to the business inclusion program, the Office of Contract Compliance reviewed the documents submitted by JR Pipeline and reported the contract complied to the business inclusion program outreach requirements of the bid and pledged a subcontractor participation level of 25.44%. When the contract or the bid documents have a mandatory subcontracting minimum of 20%, so they exceeded that requirement. In respect to JR Pipeline's previous work, JR Pipeline has worked on numerous contracts with the Bureau within the last 5 years. The report documents one violation on a previous project for an unauthorized substitution and was fined $5,278.44. Other than that violation, has no significant unresolved problems in inspection, contract compliance, or bidder responsibility have been experienced by the Bureau of Contract Administration. The project also incorporates a project labor agreement, and in conclusion, staff recommends that the board declare JR Pipeline first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award JR Pipeline the contract for this project. Now I could take any of your questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for item number 10? All right, seeing none, I'll move to approve item number 10. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our last item of today, item number 11 for Council District 14, Contract Acceptance Sidewalk Repair Program, Small Sidewalk Repair Access Request Acceleration Package number 12.
Good morning, President Kang, commissioners, board members of the board, and particularly welcome back, Commissioner Cardenas. My name is Chris Jensen. I am the Labor Compliance Officer for the City of Los Angeles, and I am coming back in response to requests made at the June 18th meeting in regard to acceptance of small sidewalk package number 12. At that time, just a quick recap, we requested that the board accept the contract and assess Rojas Construction in the amount of $16,231.36 for basically for underpayment or non-payment of wages. We asked that the board instruct the director of the Office of Accounting to disencumber the remaining $2,121.69 that was still held in retention, and also instruct the director of the Office of Accounting to collect from Rojas the sum of $14,109.67 to make up the remainder of the restitution and penalties. That is equivalent to $11,024.87 for wages, $84.80 for unpaid training funds, and then $3,000 in penalties. That would be made payable to the City of Los Angeles. We asked that the board instruct the director of the Office of Accounting to transfer those amounts to the Office of Contract Compliance for distribution to the proper receiving sources. At the conclusion of that meeting, we were asked to provide a timeline of our actions and ensure that Rojas received everything that we had done, even though they had already received all of it. We did that. We responded, gave them a timeline. It was also provided to Mr. Knight and Ms. Matson. I believe that those have been provided to you as well. Rojas was asked to submit in writing their concerns. And whether that was done or not, we don't know. They were not submitted to us. The only thing we have received from Rojas since then is acknowledgement that yes, they did receive everything that we sent to them. At some point in our previous meeting, Vice President Chavez suggested that she felt this might not be the proper venue, the proper forum for this discussion. And she was correct, absolutely correct. It is not the proper forum for this discussion. That should be done in a hearing with a state-appointed hearing officer, which is kind of the crux of the matter here. I would like to read two sentences from the California Labor Code. This is section 1742A of the California Labor Code. It states, an affected contractor or subcontractor may obtain review of a civil wage and penalty assessment under this chapter by transmitting a written request to the Office of the Labor Commissioner that appears on the assessment within 60 days after service of the assessment. If no hearing is requested within 60 days after service of the assessment shall become final. In In the previous meeting, Ms. Rojas explained that they had had COVID and were unavailable for 2 weeks, and that was why they had not responded. Our initial assessment was sent to them on May 5th of 2022. They had until November of 2022 to request a hearing. They had 6 months. They were out for 2 weeks. So we stand by our original request and ask that the board make the directions that we've requested. Any questions?
Thank you very much. I see that the Rojas individuals are not, representatives from Rojas is not here today. And I know that was one of the reasons why the board granted the continuance when this first came up in June. Commissioners, any other questions or comments related to this item? Really quick, from your remarks, just to clarify, we gave another about a month to kind of for both parties to discuss. Were there any other communications since you came to the board?
Just everything we sent to them, and Ms. Wells asked for a acknowledgement that they had received it. She did receive, basically just received.
And nothing else?
Email. That was all.
Okay. Given that, any other comments or questions? I'll move to approve item number 11. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you very much.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Does that clear our desk for today?
That is the end of our agenda items today.
All right. Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be on Friday, July 18th, 2025. My apologies. The meeting is now adjourned at 11:28 a.m.